Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Big up to everyone watching from Chelsea Fan TV. We have another live stream for you guys, and we are going to be going through all of the latest Chelsea news on this late night show. Hey, listen, Kev, good to have you back on, mate. I know it's a little bit busy with you, so it's harder to jump on the streams, but it is nice to get you back on again, mate.
Yeah, I just don't know where I'm at with at the minute. The season's just finished. So shout out my boys. We won the game. We won the league. We won the league last game of the season on Sunday. So shout out to my boys. CFC won the 14s. Fair play to you. You made me proud. All the hard work we've been putting in last few months paid off. But yeah, it's just been mad. It's been too manic. I don't even know where to start. But finally, the season's over now. I get to not even relax because I've got that much on, but it's just a bit of time just to jump on these streams now and start getting my hands into the stuff on Chelsea Fan TV, because I've been a bit quiet the last few weeks. So to all the fans, I do apologise, but life things have taken over. But yeah, I'm back now, and it's always a privilege to be on.
Hey, good to have you on, Kev. Good to have you on, mate, always. And I tell you what, you picked a good show. You did pick a good one because we've got a lot going on at the moment, and we've got some real juicy stuff to go through regarding all of the transfer news, but also an update regarding Todd Boehly and obviously everything that he's been saying about the club as well. We're going to be reacting to his recent interview, which was on Bloomberg, if I'm not wrong. So for those of you who haven't watched that interview, don't worry. It's not something that's been around for a long time. There's a lot of interviews that we watched before in February, before the protest, and we'd seen that they'd been out for ages, and I was like, how have I never watched any of them before? This one's a little bit different. This is a brand new one, very relevant to what's going on at the moment, and it gives you an idea of just how Todd Boehly's feeling at the moment. And I have to say, the lady that interviews him as well, she was great. I mean, she asked good questions. She asked lots of questions, and I mean, that was fantastic, to be fair. I mean, I was just looking at it, I was going, good question. Every single time I was like, fair enough. Because you've got to feel like if you're an interviewer, right, and you're asking Todd Boehly, obviously you want to ask him loads of questions about Chelsea, but he's probably asked the questions all the time. I don't know if it annoys him or if it would annoy an owner or anything like that, but she seemed to get responses, and like it wasn't too bad. Like, a couple of blunt answers, but generally speaking, we did get a little bit of information from that. Whether you agree with what he said or disagree, or whether you like Todd Boehly or not, again, that's that's up to you, isn't it? But the main thing is,
what he's got to say.
Hey, mate, and there was a fair bit. This was, I think it was anywhere. The interview was about 20 minutes or something, but a good 5 minutes on Chelsea. A good 5 minutes, mate. And when I say 5 minutes, this wasn't 5 minutes of him waffling on. It was, what do you think about this, Todd? And he'd give a little answer, and then she'd ask another question. It was like, fucking hell, a lot of information. So I just need to dig it out as well. So just bear with me while I do that. I mean, Kev, what would you make of everything at the moment? Obviously, it's been a while since I've spoken with you. Are you feeling confident going into the Nottingham Forest game, and also just your thoughts on United as well?
Oh, Man United game wasn't the best performance. Let's be real. We had to do the dirty work. We had to be resilient. We had plenty of possession, as we thought we would have. And Man United sat there, made it difficult. That's all Man United's job was to do. They didn't have no enthusiasm to come and get a win here. For what have they got to play for? She sat there. We had to break them down, and it was a moment of genius from our two fullbacks. Reece James, absolutely phenomenal turn, beautiful ball. Cucurella, what a finish! And I've been hearing a lot of people say he's been player of the season. If it wasn't for Caicedo being so good, Cucurella would definitely be. What I had of that was, in respect of the performance, we had to get the win, and we got it. It was 1-0. Wasn't the best. It was scrappy, but we needed the 3 points. And even with the 3 points, it's still looking like a difficult task to get a top 5 position. If you ask me if I'm confident about the Nottingham game, it's 3 points or nothing, isn't it? With the way things are going now, we need 3 points, and it's going to be very difficult. I had it down as a draw. I still believe it might be a draw. All depends on if Aston Villa can slip up points last game of the season against, I think it's Tottenham, no, against Man United. So we need Man United to do us a favour last game of the season. I believe if Man United lose, the emphasis will be on them more to finish the season strongly. If they win, Villa have got the 3 points there straight away. Oh, it's just a difficult situation. It's a weird situation. It's never been a situation where there's 1 or 2 points in between City, ourselves, Villa, Newcastle. It's tight. Obviously, Arsenal now have secured things up second place. I'm not feeling the most confident, to be fair, man. And the reason being is 3 weeks ago, we had the opportunity to get it secured. Brentford away. What was the game? Ipswich at home. We should not be sitting here going into the last game of the season need to get 3 points. It should have been, if we got the 3 points against Ipswich, that would have been it then. Secure. All we would have needed is a draw. If we got 3 points against Brentford, that's it. Sorted. So we've left ourselves in a position where now you go into Forest, you're going to be fully up for this game. Let's be real. The way they play, it scares me because it's not the style of football that we used to and that we want. They will sit back and give us the ball. We find it hard to break down teams the way Nottingham play. So it's going to be one of them games. It's going to be a fascinating encounter, but yeah, it's not good, Alex. It's not good. And I've seen people putting a Champions League song up on the pictures and that. Come on, don't get carried away yet. Because if you walk at that ground and we're 7th place, 6th place on Sunday, what is everyone going to be feeling like them? And I tell you now, I won't be blaming the manager for the league position. I won't be blaming the manager. This is further up. So we've got to be looking for what's in store on Sunday. But yeah, we've got to go into confidence. So it's a difficult situation, mate.
No, that's fair. I think that's an interesting assessment, definitely, Kev. Yeah. We're going to quickly run through some of the comments, and then we're going to dive straight into it with regards to what Todd Boehly said. We're going to be reacting to the interview, so we're going to watch that all together. Big up to Amir. I hope you're doing well. Big up to Jordan. Good to see you on the stream. Jessica, hope you're doing well. She says she would love Rodrygo to join. Rahman says, confirm the only way Chelsea can get Champions League on Sunday is with a win. You wait for Champions League draw if Villa don't beat United or if Everton beat Newcastle away, lose, it's over. There you go. There you go. Smash the like button as well if you haven't already, guys. We've got about 70 of you in here. Let's get straight up to 50 likes, guys. Straight up to 50 likes. Start off quick, and then it's easy, and it just flows from there. Smash the like button if you like. In fact, nah, probably don't want to say that. Smash the like button if you don't like our owners. Smash the like button if you're enjoying the video. If you do like the video, I mean, you can still smash the like button. It's up to you, isn't it? Do you guys think Nkunku will play the final game against Nottingham? Absolutely not. This is a live video. Yes. Yes, this is live. Big up to DJ Sav. I hope you're doing well, mate. Yeah, we'll go through everything. We'll go through that. Don't you worry. Big up to JC. Big up to CFC Football Edits. I hope you guys are doing well. Right. Without further ado, I think it's time, Kev. It's time to just dive into it. Now, for those of you who don't know where Boehly was speaking, he was speaking at the Qatar Economic Forum. And they actually have a YouTube channel where they upload some of the interviews. If I'm not wrong, Elon Musk actually was also on the same forum. I saw something of him today as well. So they've had some big characters. Boehly's just another one of them. And this is with Bloomberg as well. Bloomberg always seem to be involved whenever Boehly has an interview. I'm going to share my screen with you now, and then let's react together, and we can dissect it as well.
Or is it at times, Todd, on Chelsea, is it fun owning a football club like Chelsea, or is it at times a bit of a headache?
I think it's a combination of both, right? But it's like owning anything. Almost anything I own is both fun and a headache. So I think this one's a little more in my face every day. But the fact is, the good news is the bad news, right? If people didn't care, right, then it would stink.
He always says that. That's a quote that he said so many times. Do you remember that, Kev? Always says that.
What's that?
Says the good news is the bad news. He's basically like he's saying like the fans are really passionate, which is really good.
Yeah.
And the fans are really passionate, which is a bit bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he always says that. He said that numerous times. I remember him saying that.
It seems to me that the way he talks, he's not lying. So whatever he says is what it is. He doesn't think about what he says. He kind of just talks off the script, if you know what I mean. So it's interesting to see what he's going to be saying now. Yeah.
I don't know if I think he thinks about what he says. I think he does.
He doesn't. The way he just
he's not as reserved as Egg Barley, but he
off the
is,
cuff. He doesn't talk. Yeah.
He's very much. He's more of a character. I agree with that. But I do think that I think because of the fan presence, he has to be careful with what he says. I mean, I've seen that directly. When I first met Boehly, he used to answer my questions and talk to me. He gave the channel a shout out. And now you say, what did you think of the game? And he goes, I'm not going to comment. So he's definitely changed. Anyway, let's move on.
So it's a testament to, how much the sport matters. And if you look at the Premier League right now, there's so much excitement in it, especially what's going on in the last weekend, right? Like there's 7 teams that could be making Champions League. There's going to be, the winner of Tottenham and Man United will go to Champions League. We'll have, we'll probably have 9 teams in European.
What's that, mate?
Didn't you hear what he just said?
What did you say?
7 teams. 7 teams in the Champions League. 6.
Well, no. He's not wrong. Oh no!
No, 6. 6.
Oh,
6.
fucking hell.
6.
Yeah. You're right.
Not 7. Oh, he's wrong. He's wrong again. Carry on.
Sorry, can I just hear that again?
Could be making Champions League last weekend, right? Like there's 7 teams that could be making.
Okay, no, you're misinterpreting what he's saying. He means 7 teams that are competing for Champions League. He's not saying.
Rewind it. He said the 7 teams that can make Champions League. Rewind it.
Yeah, but he's not wrong, Kev. 7 teams can make it, but that doesn't mean they will.
Okay.
I'll rewind it though. Fine, I'll rewind it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a testament to how much the sport matters. And if you look at the Premier League right now, there's so much excitement in it, especially what's going on in the last weekend, right? Like there's 7 teams that could be making Champions League. There's going to be the winner of Tottenham and Man United will go to Champions League. We'll have a team. We'll probably have 9 teams in European competition out of the Premier League alone, which to me is just a testament to the quality of the product.
9 or 10 teams in Europe. Is that right?
I think he is right, because obviously you see Crystal Palace are in it now, aren't they? Crystal Palace.
Fuck.
Yeah. So there's quite a few, aren't they?
Yes. So who are we going to have? We're going to have obviously Arsenal, Palace, Liverpool. We're going to have
Forest.
Chelsea will make Europe, Forest will make Europe, Newcastle will make Europe, City will make Europe, and Villa will make Europe. That's 8. Who have I missed?
Fulham might be in a chance. Fulham and Brighton.
Brighton is the next one. Brighton at 8th.
Yeah.
So it'd be Brighton, which will be the.
But 9 teams could be in all competitions next year.
Oh, that's mad though. That many English teams can be in the competition. All right, let's keep going.
And to that privilege.
Is that what surprised you the most, since being one of the owners of Chelsea, and how the level at which?
I think the level of competition is ferocious, and the margins of errors are so small. And I don't think I fully appreciated, the level, the margin of error is so small. I think the sport's gotten more and more competitive in the Premier League, and that makes winning all that much sweeter. And, I guess I really didn't know how much I would love a goal. A goal feels so good. And giving up a goal is just the worst, right? It's like, in basketball, you can be down 20 points in the fourth quarter and feel like you're still in it. In baseball, you hit a home run and it's fantastic. But a goal, there's nothing like a goal.
Do you worry about the future of?
Just coming back as well, mate. So he said he underestimated how small mistakes can make a big difference. And yeah, he basically admitted that he didn't realize how challenging it was going to be. And that to me is a very interesting thing for him to say. I'm surprised actually that he's come out and said that. That does seem to me to be relatively open. Like you said as well, Kevin. I mean, he's not wrong. We made some big mistakes. And I don't know when he says that. I don't know if he's referring specifically to when he was in charge of running things, or if he's talking generally speaking from a Clear Lake perspective as well. Obviously, they're running things now. I don't know exactly what he's referring to, but I guess, look, mistakes were made. They're both involved. And yeah, no doubt that things could have been very, very different. Yes. And yes, you're right, JC. He is learning football. He's come a long way from 4-4-3. That is very true. Very
4-4-3.
Do you remember that one, Kev, when he was speaking to Thomas Tuchel?
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it. Yeah.
Fucking hell! Can you imagine that?
He's still
imagine
learning.
if you're Thomas Tuchel and you hear that, you're thinking, I've just gone from Don Roman to this.
Unbelievable. Well, you know what it is. At least he's putting his hands up, and it seems to me that he's doing his research. And from the way he's talking, he knows more than us. He knows that 10 teams can qualify for Europe. He's aware that there's an X amount of teams that can qualify for Champions League. And if you put it like this a few years ago, you wouldn't know this. But I think the looks like they are doing the research and doing the homework of what's in store. And, Sunday and the following Wednesday, it probably takes in the next 9 days' time, we could be in a different position. We could have Champions League and have our first trophy, and things start looking like they're going in the right direction. So things can change. Or we could be in the Europa League and no trophy, and we're back to square one. So everything now depends on this next week.
Oh, don't even want to think about that. That would be disaster. That would be a disaster. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. I don't want to dissect these things too much. Let's just hope we can do it. Anyway.
But a goal, there's nothing like a goal.
Do you worry about the future of media rights? I mean, valuations in France and other countries have bombed. Is there a danger that the same will happen to the Premier League?
I think as long as the competition stays what it is, people all around the world, I mean, it's one of the few things that's sold into every market, right? So if you look at the Premier League media rights, other than I think Russia and North Korea, there's a contract to sell the content into every other country. There's nothing like that. So I think as long as the product remains so competitive and the management of it, and the reality is I think these things are just going to continue to grow. I think sports is going to continue to grow in demand. I think in the US we're seeing it, right? College has become a new professional sport, with the advent of NIL. Arch Manning, who plays football for the University of Texas, American football, is going to make over $6 million playing football, in college. So I think the level of performance is going to continue to go younger and younger and younger, as people become more and competitive.
What do we think about? Not so much about the college, but what he was saying previously about.
Oh, about the TV rights and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basically, she was asking him about whether he thinks the Premier League is going to continue to have a lot of demand in terms of media. You look at France, for example. I mean, they're broke. Nobody wants to watch the French league. It's very difficult to sell those rights. And that's not an issue we have in the Premier League. He was saying, I don't know if he mentioned it, but I'm pretty sure he said that Russia and North Korea are the only countries that don't have the rights for the Premier League. So, yeah. there's obviously a huge market for it. And the thing is as well, is they'll get to a stage where, and this is a thing that I think is starting to happen, is you're seeing that the broadcasters aren't willing to pay as much money now as they were. I mean, they're sort of capped. They're not willing to go much higher. And, clubs are trying to find revenue sources in other places as well. But there's no doubt that the Premier League, even though that the revenues aren't necessarily going up, they're going to find other ways to grow. And you look at all the different clubs, mate. It's hardly surprising when we have such a popular league. You've got United fans everywhere. You've got Chelsea fans everywhere. I don't see that changing, to be honest.
No, he's right. And the thing is, like you said, I think it's ourselves and the Spanish league that gets shown in the most countries in the world. Obviously, you've got Real Madrid and Barcelona that are the biggest clubs in the world, but Premier League in general is the most watched league in the world. So it's going to bring capital into the Premier League. It's going to bring capital into teams. So with him suggesting that, it's only going to go further. I think he's right. But as long as the football on the field's going the right way, and it has been, not this season. I think this season the Premier League, it's been a weird one, hasn't it? I don't think the quality's been the best, or we've still got massive names coming into the league. Obviously, we've been linked to the tracks with Rodrygo and enquires. We're still attracting and bringing in the best superstars across the globe. So the TV levels and the amount of people watching is still going to stay the same because the attraction is still there. So yeah, from a business perspective, it's talking sense. But yeah, we want to see some trophies. Hopefully, the next part he starts talking about trophies and winning stuff. Let's continue.
Younger and younger, as people become more and more competitive.
Do you want to increase your role at Chelsea?
My role?
Mm-hmm.
I think chairman's a pretty good one. I can't play. Or maybe I'll go out as striker. See how the fans think about that.
But there's no time. I mean, there's rumors about you taking a back seat or anything like that. That's nothing that you're.
No, we have a good partnership. Of course, like every partnership, you have times that you got to work through and times that are better. And I think we hit the ground running in such a intense timeline. That it was just a complex moment. But I think we're through it and we're excited about what the future holds. We think we've got one of the best young teams. We were early on doing kind of 7, 8, 9-year contracts because we really wanted to make sure that we could keep the team together for a long time. If you read a book called Captain's Class, right, it talks about the 15 best teams in the world. And I think one of the things that you see is in order to have a really good team, you ultimately need stability within the team, within the environment. And the only way that comes is through time. But I think we've set it up to be able to benefit from that.
So I understand where he's coming from, but what if the signings don't work? Did they think about this? So look at Modric, for instance, banging him on a 9-year contract. Has that worked? Has the majority of the signings that we've signed worked? I don't think he understands with football that giving someone a 9-year contract doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be here for 9 years. Football is
it's about resale value as well, Kev.
Yeah. But
if you put them on low wages,
the way he's talking is you're just going to bring in 20 players and put them all on 9-year contracts, and in 10 years' time they're still going to be here. If you bring in 20 players in 9 years' time, you'd be happy. You'd be lucky to have one of them players in your squad. Nevertheless, the 420. So wherever he's got this idea from that you want to keep all your players together for 8, 9 years.
I don't think he said that though.
It's not Football Manager.
I don't think he said that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll watch it again briefly because I make sure we've got it.
Make sure that we could keep 7, 8, 9. One of the best young teams. We were early on doing kind of 7, 8, 9-year contracts. Because we really wanted to make sure that we could keep the team together for a long time. If you read a book called,
so he's not implying that they're all going to sell. Sorry, that they're all going to stay for that long, but he's saying that that's a way of keeping the players at the club. And he's not wrong, Kev. He's not wrong, but it's not something that we know works. But what he's saying that he wanted to do is what they've done. We just don't know if it's the successful way of doing things long term. I mean, we know short term it doesn't work, but everything that they've spoken about is the long term project. Yeah. We're going to do this. We're looking to achieve that. We're moving in the right direction. So, you know, I think that there's definitely two sides of that. I mean, you could look at Mudryk as an example, but look at Palmer, look at Enzo, look at Caicedo. These are all on long-term contracts and they're fucking good players. So, you know, there's two sides to this. But what I will say is this would have been much better if we could have mixed a little bit more experience with what we're doing, and we would have had instant success on top of being able to progress in terms of a long-term project as well. I mean, wouldn't that just be great? You win over the fans straight away. You automatically win trophies. You're still an attractive club, and you're offering young players the opportunity to play at one of the best clubs in world football in the best league. Surely that would be a great way of doing it. But they've obviously gone down the extreme of trying to have young players from the get-go. And obviously they're not going to give a 30-year-old a 9-year deal, are they? So it's always going to be those younger players that get those long contracts. But yeah, no, I see your point, Kev. I do see your point, mate.
Yeah.
Right. Let's keep going.
Captain's class, right? It talks about the 15 best teams, you know, in the world. And I think one of the things that you see, you know, is in order to have a really good team, you ultimately need stability, you know, within the team, within the environment, you know, and the only way that comes is through time. But I think we've set it up to be able to benefit from that.
So, I mean, I think we're going through the numbers. There are now nearly enough American-owned teams in the Premier League to get together to actually enforce, you know, rule changes, like matches abroad, salary caps. Do you see the American team voting together to bring around some changes?
I think we believe very much in the culture, and obviously we've been educated, you know, from the past. So we're very focused on making sure we maintain the culture.
So when you said to me, Kev, that this guy doesn't think about his answers, that is a very political answer. So fucking like he has, that's enough to keep us satisfied, but not enough to say that he would never do it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So can you repeat that once again? Let me go hear that once again, please.
That's a very serious topic, and you can see he's very serious the way he answers that. Yeah, rightly so.
Okay.
Now nearly enough American-owned teams in the Premier League to get together to actually enforce, you know, rule changes like matches abroad, salary caps. Do you see the American teams voting together to bring around some changes?
I think we believe very much in the culture, and obviously we've been educated, you know, from the past. So we're very focused on making sure we maintain the culture.
What do you mean by that?
That's well, Kev, you know exactly what he means. He doesn't want to upset people. That's why he says that. But what he hasn't said, he hasn't ruled out. He hasn't ruled anything out. And actually, when he did one of his first talks, I don't know if that was a Bloomberg talk as well. You know, they did say, you know, would you ever rule out joining a Super League or anything like that? And his exact words at that point, this is a year, maybe 2 years ago, his exact words was, "I'm not going to rule anything out." He said, I never say no. No, that's what he said.
That basically means, yeah. That means if the opportunity came in the rises and it gives him,
well, he's a businessman, he's going to take opportunities. Of course he is. But when he says that we care very much about the culture, we want to keep the culture, he also said we've been educated. And I believe that's actually true. I think he has been educated. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, but there's you cannot deny that if the opportunity arose, if the money was good enough for Chelsea to play a game in New York, for example, then they would fucking snap at that. Of course they fucking would.
Oh, you mean a Premier League game abroad, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got the you've got the Italian final in Saudi, mate. You've got Spanish teams playing in Saudi. You don't think they're looking at this and thinking to themselves, maybe that's an option for us?
It's only a matter of time before.
No, he's not. He's not on about the Super League. He's not on about the Super League. What he's talking about is playing matches abroad. That is what he's talking about. He's talking about playing matches abroad. And they would. The question was: there's going to be a lot of American-owned clubs. Will you move together to influence change, i.e., salary caps and playing matches abroad? And then he answered. So for me, I think that's a very interesting and very intelligent way of answering the question.
The opportunities, Alex, they're like anybody else. Anybody else that runs a business, you're going to try and find opportunities to earn more money. That's it. I am not against them making money. That's how it is. But like we've repeated for years and years, the stuff on the field needs to be the most important. Needs to be made the most important thing. So us finishing the Champions League spot needs to be a priority. Right now, a lot of talk going on, a lot of talk about other things, but I'm yet to hear him say anything about winning, and that's my concern. I think all the stuff that he said, I couldn't disagree with. I feel like, yeah, come on, football's evolving. We're not. Come on. We all know it's around the corner. There's going to be a game, a charity show game, or a League Cup final, or FA Cup final played abroad. That's how football is. It's evolving. Who are we to sit here and blame the FA for getting hundreds of £1 million, which they're going to get, for playing a 90-minute football game abroad? Who are we to sit here and say it's wrong? When really and truly, if it was us sat in the board in the FA, opportunities came along, what would you do? Would you say no?
What if I was being offered lots of money?
If me and you was board of directors for the FA, and some Saudi Arabian trillionaire came along and said, you know what, we won a game of yours for £10 billion or whatever they're going to offer us, would we sit here and say no? No, who wouldn't? We'd be doing anything possible to get it on. And
well, it depends on. I think it really comes back to whether you're already in a healthy situation. It's like this, right? Let's put it in what analogy can I think of? You're happily married, but you still cheat on your wife. That's stupid. But if you're not happily married and you're cheating, then I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it's more understandable, if that makes sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, like, if the Premier League is already a great product, why would you mess around with it? The reason these Italian teams are going to Saudi and you've got Spanish teams going to Saudi is because they don't make money from their own league. So they're forced into it. Well, they're in a position where they feel like they have to do it, right? To fulfill their needs in terms of, well, being able to pay players, etc. We are not in that position. We're in a very healthy position as a league. So I don't see why you have to jeopardize that. But anyway, we're not saying that Todd Boehly is advocating for it. He's obviously saying the exact opposite. He's saying that he respects the culture. He wants to continue the culture, and that's fine. It's an intelligent answer. Let's move on.
What happens if the team doesn't make the Champions League again? Is there a risk that you could lose some big players?
We don't have any clauses like that in any of our contracts.
So that's another interesting point. And we've heard things about Cole Palmer leaving, Enzo Fernandez. Well, that puts that to bed. So none of the players are leaving if we don't get Champions League unless we want them to go. They can't force a move. There's no contractual obligation to consider offers or have a release clause if we don't get into the Champions League. So I think that answers that.
I mean, in general, what's the transfer window looking like? I know you can't give out too many secrets because there's a lot of people in the room, but are you excited?
Yeah, I think, well, obviously we're going to the Club World Cup. So right now we're laser focused on the Club World Cup. We have some players that are joining us for the Club World Cup that weren't on the team. So, Andre Santos is coming from Strasbourg. We're really excited about, him and what we think he can add to the squad. The challenge that we really have is how many matches these guys are playing. The calendar is really tight, and they put in so much effort and energy. and the injuries are continuing to go up and up and up. So I think we're going to have to revisit how what's the calendar look like, and how much football can they actually play. Obviously, they're built to play football. They love playing football. So we're trying to find the balance as to what's the right amount of football.
Yeah. What
interesting as well. Speaking about Andre Santos.
Yep.
Boehly again basically confirmed that he's going to be a part of Chelsea's squad. He's confirmed it. I don't think that there's really another way that you can. What's that, mate?
Yeah, we knew this anyway, and Chelsea would be stupid to get rid of him again, mate. I've heard what team is it now? Arsenal, is it? I've heard that Arsenal have been looking at him, but we'd be stupid to let him go. He's definitely going to play a massive part next season. We've already had Champions League football. So yeah, it's good that he's acknowledging players. It's good that he knows about players. He's obviously done his homework.
Well, I mean, you're always going to know about. It's like any business, isn't it? You want to know what's going on. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm absolutely impressed with him, because I don't think he's got. If you say 4-4-3, then I don't think anyone's going to believe you ever have any ball knowledge. But it's you'd rather an owner was informed than uninformed. You'd rather he knew what was going on than not. And obviously he knows about the players, and he knows about the competitions. He's even keeping up to date with the Europa League with United and Tottenham, for example. So that's something, but I wouldn't give him credit for that. I think that's expected. You own the club. Do you not want to know what's going on with your competitors? Does that not interest you? I think these things are certainly relevant. I don't think he's necessarily just watching as a fan. I think he's watching more so as an investor and an owner in that sense. But yeah, so we've basically had a bit of confirmation there, saying that Andre Santos is going to be a part of Chelsea's squad next season. No players will have to leave because of clauses in their contracts if we don't get Champions League football, so that won't be an issue at all. There is no contracts whatsoever with those clauses in them, and that is what has come out of Boehly's mouth himself.
What's your ideal calendar? What does that look like?
That's not my job.
How much? We're getting laughs because everybody wants to know. That's what everybody wants to know. Will you spend big again in the transfer window?
Listen, I think we've done most of our investing, and I think we're not looking at it as a spend. We look at it as an investment, and we're trying to build the best portfolio of players that can perform at the highest level for the longest periods of time. So I think there's going to be a lot of investment in this window, just what I'm hearing and what we're feeling. And so there's going to be a lot of, well-heeled clubs that are going to be looking to add to, their teams. And I think that that's only good for the Premier League.
Now, really important to distinguish what Boehly was saying. We're going to watch it again, and we're going to stop at a certain point.
So no, that's what everybody wants to know. Will you spend big again in the transfer window?
Listen, I think we've done most of our investing, and I think we're not looking at it as a spend. We look at it as an investment.
We're not looking at it as a spend. We are looking at it as an investment. Very key point. I don't know why anyone ever thought any different, but
that tells us where we're going again.
Well, you've got to remember, Kev, they weren't even spending their own money in the first place. They borrowed money from the banks to finance some of the transfers, and they borrowed more money from Ares Capital or Ares Management, whatever you call it. I think it's Ares Capital. So they would not borrow money if they weren't looking to gain something from it. Otherwise, they just spend their own money. By the way, Todd Boehly doesn't have any money to spend for this. That's the only reason why he partnered with Clearlake in the first place, because he didn't have the capital to buy Chelsea. His net worth, he just doesn't have enough cash. So that's the situation we're in. This is a guy who's clearly looking at investing in Chelsea. But the only difference between the way Boehly views the investment at Chelsea and Clearlake views the investment of Chelsea is that Boehly views Chelsea as a long-term investment, and Clearlake views it as a short-term, mid to short-term, whatever mid to short-term meaning a 5 to 10 year investment. But we know it's got to be 10 years because of the Glazer clause, and that's when they'll look to sell by 2033. They have to sell. That's their model. That's what they do. They are private equity. Boehly's just hoping that they don't have to, when they pay back all the debts, that they're able to actually do it. Because if you know what happened at Inter Milan, Kev, they couldn't pay their debts, so they got taken over by private equity.
Yeah.
And that could happen to Chelsea with Aries, who we borrowed money from. So it's in our best interest to obviously pay them back, pay the banks as well, and then obviously the club is still going to be owned by by the same people who are there. But we know that Clearlake will look to obviously sell their shares, and Boehly presumably will try and buy.
But basically, if the debts are not paid off, our club could get taken over by bankers. Is that what you just?
But the positive thing about that is that if the debts don't get paid back, then we automatically are rid of Clearlake and Boehly.
Yeah, but that's
the good thing about it.
The club gets put in the hands of who? And like you said, there's
they would get put in the hands of Aries. But this is where it's a little bit different, Kev. Is that Aries don't care about the business model like Clearlake do. They just want a product that grows in value. They don't care about cash flow. And this is one of the things I've looked into as well. So Clearlake, it's really important for Clearlake to show that Chelsea is profitable, because that's what Clearlake do. They turn businesses that aren't profitable and make them more profitable. If we were taken over by another private equity, they would look to just sell. So actually it's in their interest for Chelsea to win, which is what you're seeing with Inter Milan. Very successful, competing for the Italian league title, compete for the Champions League, and then they will grow in value, and that will help when they are sold. So that's one of the things that could happen. But yeah, just going back to my original point, Boehly obviously wants to be a part of Chelsea for a long time. This is a long-term investment for him. He's spoken about 20, 30-year projects. When have you ever heard Egbali say anything similar to that? It's all about financials with all of these guys. But the only difference is Boehly cares about the long-term investment, whereas Clearlake, they just want to come in and get out. Let's continue.
Quick book and gone.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
And we're trying to build, the best portfolio of players that can perform, at the highest level for the longest periods of time. I think there's going to be, a lot of investment in this window, just what I'm hearing and what we're feeling. And there's going to be a lot of, well-heeled clubs that are going to be looking to add to, their teams. And I think that that's only good for the Premier League.
Right. So he does say that there is going to be investment based on what he's seeing. Also, guys, we've got over 200 of you in the building, and we have only got 67 likes. So let's get straight up to 100 likes on the video, guys. As soon as we get up to 100 likes, I will continue playing the video. Until then, me and Kev are just going to continue to waffle. So let's get up to 100 likes, and then we will continue going from there. Once we're there, we'll continue. Kev, listen, what I will say is that, at least Boehly gives us something to work with, mate, in terms of like understanding his thought process, etc. Like, we haven't heard anything from Egbali or Feliciano or anything from these guys. We will hear something, I'm sure, at some point, because when you're working with these kind of companies, the only reason Boehly does these economic forums is because he has investors, and obviously he needs to speak to them, or is pitching for new investors to come in. And that's the only reason they do these. They're not doing them because they because they love speaking to these people, or because they want they do want the exposure, but again, not for the reasons we're thinking about, or we would think about. It's all about, maybe if someone sees me talking about this or whatever, might actually meet someone and gain a couple of quid as well out of it.
Yeah, I just feel like Boehly is a lot more better spoken than Eghbali. Eghbali doesn't give a crap what he says, does he? From what I've gathered,
I don't think Eghbali says much, so it's hard to really judge that.
Yeah, but he just talks about money, profit, money. He says how it is. With Boehly, is a bit more strategic in what he's saying. He talks facts, he talks figures, but he's not just all about the money. He kind of takes what fans into consideration, which is a good thing. Eghbali, I don't get the vibes from him at all. We know what he's about.
Did I tell you about Newcastle, Kev? Did I tell you about that?
No, I haven't heard. No, saw him.
I saw Eghbali twice in Newcastle, mate. I saw him before the game. I didn't film any of it because, well, to be quite frank, I just can't be bothered to film everything. It's nice to have some real human interaction sometimes. I saw Eghbali. I didn't speak to him before the game, but I saw him. He had his security. He was going into the stadium, and then we literally brushed shoulders with him after the stadium. I'm not joking. Literally brushed shoulders. And I said to him as we were walking out, so we were really pissed off with the result. I said, because the thing is, you can't tell. I know people want me to say like "fuck you" to the guy, but
mate, you're only gonna get cancelled, mate. There's no point. Be professional.
It's not about that, but like that's just not who. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
No, you don't want to get.
It's not about being cancelled, Kev. It's just not. It's not what I do. I don't do that. I'm not going to say that to people. I'm not going to do it. Look, I'm not saying I'm the most classy bloke in the world, but I've got a little bit more class than that. And anyway, so I said to him after, I said, do you think we're going to get Champions League? And we were still walking. It's not like he stopped to talk to me. And he said they ignored me. And I asked again. And I was like, oh, classic. Of course, he's ignoring me. And then Stevie, Stevie Proper Chelsea, he then said, hey, Boehly, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? He's shouting over, not in like a nasty way, but, he's just quite a loud guy.
Yeah.
And Eghbali then shouted, he went, we've got 2 more games. That's what he said. He said, we've got 2 more games. And that's all we heard. But yeah, he did actually respond. So, but fucking hell, it's hard to get a word out of the guy. I mean, it's ridiculous. None of these guys really want to speak to the fans anymore.
Mate, he had a conversation with Hansi Wiss a few weeks ago, mate, and what an interview that was, mate. And he was exactly what we want, and considering that we're not Chelsea TV, we're just Chelsea fan TV. He came over and he broke it down to us, and he kind of gave us some inside knowledge that we all want to hear, like about the ground and everything else. Brilliant. Eghbali, we're not going to get that from him. Todd Boehly, I feel like if he were to meet him on the road, he'd be the kind of person that would probably have a little conversation with you. But it's just down to the personalities. I just feel like Eghbali, they're not in it for the fans. They're in it for the profit. You got your Wiss and your Boehly. Boehly's a bit of both, but Hansi Wiss, mate, he's one of us. He completely loves. You can tell he's a fan. No, you can tell. Yeah, you can tell he's a fan. Look, the guy has probably got about 5 years left max. He's not in it for the money, isn't he? He's not in it for the money. Of course he's in it
for the money. Of course he is.
Hey, what's he going to do with the money?
What do you mean? What's he going to do? He's going to spend it, Kev. That's what they do. They spend it.
He's 2 tall stumps away from being buried. He's not got long left in it. He's not exactly going to see anything from his profits, mate. Maybe he's just in it to experience a good football game. I don't know. But for him to come and sit down with you, not sit down with you, but stand up and talk to you like he did, goes to show that he's more of a fan person than the rest of them.
Right, have we hit 100 likes yet? We've got 7 more likes, and then we're going to continue the video. Just smash the like button, and we'll get to 100. Let's get up to 100, guys. 7 more likes, and then we're there. We're on 93 as it stands. What are we saying in the comments as well? Okay. To be fair, due to these forums, out of all the big owners, you hear from the Chelsea ones probably the most. Yeah, but that's not because that's because they're pitching investors, mate. It's not because they want to communicate with the fans. Otherwise, they'd be talking with the CST and people like that. That's why we're hearing from them. Right, we've hit 100, so we're going to keep going. We've hit 100 likes. Right, let's go.
More targeted approach. You have a lot of Chelsea fans actually out there.
Yes. I think we know what we need to do. We know the places that we need to invest. So that's going to be our focus.
Todd, when looking at sports, you're also part owner of the Dodgers. There's so much more emotion, right, than parking lots or anything like.
Yeah.
Is that how you build a portfolio? Like a bit of emotion, a bit less emotion?
I think early on we looked at this and said, let's have our strategy be really simple. Like, what do people need and what do people want? And so I think if you look at, we started a company called A24 from scratch. In 2012, we put up $19 million, and A24 is probably the #1 independent film and TV company in America now. And
are we done with Chelsea now? Did I make everyone wait just to hear about insurance companies and all this nonsense? Let's see.
But I think it's super creative.
Less emotional than football. Maybe we can agree on that.
Losing money is a painful thing.
I'm sure it is. Todd. Very painful. Bloody hell.
How are the differences with Clear Lake on stadium development?
Okay, they're still talking about football. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I skipped a bit, didn't I? They were talking about football.
Yes. I think we know what we need to do. We know the places that we need to invest. So that's going to be our focus.
Todd, when looking at sports, you're also part owner of the Dodgers. There's so much more emotion, right, than parking lots or anything like.
Yeah.
Is that how you build a portfolio? Like a bit of emotion, a bit less emotion?
I think early on we looked at this and said, let's have our strategy be really simple. Like, what do people need and what do people want? And so I think if you look at, we started a company called A24 from scratch. In 2012, we put up $19 million. And A24 is probably the #1 independent film and TV company in America now. And so, getting behind the right leaders, the right managers, the right CEOs, the right creatives, I think all those things are applicable in almost every industry. Whether you're doing product development or, TV and film development, I think that you realize even like finance, people don't think of finance as a creative business, but I think it's super creative.
Less emotional than football. You do. Maybe we can agree on that.
Losing money is a painful thing.
How are the differences with Clear Lake on stadium development at Chelsea?
I think long term we just have to figure out. We recognize that a club like Chelsea needs a 65,000 person stadium, and we also recognize that that's going to be important to be able to compete long term. So I think we'll figure that out.
I have a cricket question, because you and a consortium are basically won a bidding round for a team in Nottingham, but the whole process is yet to complete. Are you confident that will be completed with a positive outcome for you?
I think cricket is a really exciting sport, and you look at what's going on in India, and you look at the media rights in India, and you look at the ability to expand it globally. And I think, we're in the early innings of cricket, but obviously, when you look at the size and scale of India, to be able to export that game around the world, right? And who knows? I think the convergence of cricket and baseball is also really intriguing, right? Because it's a similar skill set.
So that's what he's planning to do. Have a cricket, baseball, rounders, like changeover sport. These guys, they're not stupid.
As soon as he was like, cricket's a really exciting sport, I was like, yeah, fuck off, mate.
Listen, before he even said baseball and everything else, I knew he was going to try and link the two sports together, and maybe that's what they're trying to do. So they're not stupid. So what they probably want to do is they're probably trying to get this cricket team and then take them to India, where the Indian Super League is, where they're earning millions over there, and try and make some league where it's like a baseball-style cricket game or some lines of that. Smart thinking, to be fair. Why not?
Oh, that's funny, though. That is funny. Also, I'm just going to respond to this. Kevin, I'm not saying that Ares Capital are going to take over Chelsea. You didn't listen to what I said properly. right? They would only take over if we're not able to repay our debts, which I'm sure we will. That's the only situation in which they would take us over. So I'm not saying they're taking us over. I'm saying if we didn't pay them back, then they would be able to take over. Just to clarify. But oh my God, can we watch that again, Kev? Can we watch that again? That is just fucking brilliant. That is class.
A positive outcome for you.
You know, I think cricket is a really exciting sport, and you look at what's going on in India.
No, I'm very twisted. He's talking about that, not fucking someone standing there all day and it's hitting the ball, bang, and it just rolling over. Literally, I can't say that's it. Like people go by the also say, how is football exciting? But cricket, come on, man. You're talking
cricket. Wow. I'll be honest, I actually enjoy watching baseball. I would consider myself not to be a hardcore baseball fan, but to be like a sort of a lot more a couch fan. A couch fan, is that what a couch? Yeah. Like I watch the odd game, you know.
It's a lot more entertaining than cricket.
So mate, you've got to go to. They had the London series. I went with Matt Dav, and we were in the fucking baseball stadium, and Matt was doing all these chants. It was actually a little bit like the guy has no social anxiety whatsoever. He's literally effing and blinding while there's families and kids, and I was like, bloody hell, Matt. You know what he's like. But he had a good time. We had a good time. It was good fun. No, baseball's a good day out, but cricket, God, I can't understand that.
But you know what? Listen, you got to think, why are these people billionaires? It's because they see a silver lining in something before other people do, and they get, you know, like stocks, the stocks market.
We should make a shirt of him saying cricket is an exciting sport. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but this is why they're rich, because they see things before we see it, and they've got the money. They'll invest and guarantee their investments will come back 10 years down the line, and that's what they're probably doing with this cricket thing right now. So smart business, but. We talked about this a few months ago and we was pissed off about it, but it seems to me that that's just taking its own little position in the back seat. So yeah, I'm hopefully the focused on the job in Hanwich House Football Club. That's more important. The Indian Premier League, or whatever it's called. But they're not stupid. They are not stupid.
India, and you look at the media rights in India, and you look at the ability to expand it globally, and I think, you know, we're in the early innings of cricket, but obviously, you know, when you look at the size and scale of India, you know, to be able to export that game around the world, right? And who knows? I think the convergence of cricket and baseball is also really intriguing, right? Because it's a similar skill set, you know, and we now have, you know, in Uganda, you know, we have a Dodger facility. So we just signed our first African player to a professional contract. And I think that's, you know, really exciting as we continue to export these sports all around the world.
But on cricket, if London Spirit became available, would you rather buy that instead of the Nottingham team?
I mean, you know, I think the guys that wanted to buy London Spirit were really clear that they were going to buy it. And, you know, I don't like to get in front of trucks.
That's a good life, generally a good life lesson. You know, the president likes baseball. I mean, again, because you own the Dodgers, Pete Rose, should he be elected to the Hall of Fame?
This is a super controversial discussion. You know, my point of view is, so the not having remorse about, you know, the rules that he violated, 100,000 square feet of athletic facilities. And as, you know, NIL and the professional elements of sports and compensation move to younger and younger, about sponsorship opportunities and other benefits, because once you have a fleet of St. James, you'll have quite a moat.
Todd, we have 15 seconds left. Greatest sports person of all time you'd like to meet, and what would you ask?
Nah, fuck off. Not interested.
I want to hear what he wants to say.
Oh, Kev.
I ain't gonna do that, man. I want to see what he's. I know he's gonna say he's gonna say Michael Jordan, something like that, innit?
All right.
We'll see. I think I just got a funny feeling it'd be Michael Jordan. Every American says it.
Ask them or tell them.
Well, it's not really going to resonate with this audience probably, but there was a gentleman by the name of Dan Gable And Dan Gable was probably one of the best wrestlers all time. And as a wrestler, I admire Dan Gable. He was undefeated all the way through college. And unfortunately, he lost his very last match. But the guy was just tough as nails. And he built Iowa into the best wrestling program. So as a young wrestler, I was so aspirational of Iowa. And I would just ask him, what was it like to dominate day in and day out, just kind of like our Chelsea women just did.
There we go. That's a perfect way to end. Todd Boehly, thank you so much.
You had to get the Chelsea woman in there.
Yeah.
All right, mate. All right. I didn't know he was a wrestler. Fair enough. Fair play. I mean, listen, Kev. I mean, I personally think that interview was. I thought the lady did a great job. By the way, I thought she was a good. She asked great questions, and I think we got. I wouldn't say great answers, because great. I guess you could say that in a number of ways. What he's actually saying doesn't necessarily light you up, but you get information from it, don't you? You get information. And I think that was a very informative interview. And so
I think the timing of the interview is good. How we're coming into the business end of the season, and all of us, including myself, didn't think Todd Boehly had a clue, and it was educated on certain topics, but he clearly has done his homework. The lady done the interview; she's done the homework to ask the questions, to get the answers, and seems to me that the vision's there, but I still buy the answers with the transfers and stuff. I feel like I don't think we're going to be going for the players at the top of the game. I still feel like we're going to, like you said, do investments with that word there. I think a lot of the players that they've signed so far have been investments. When are you going to start seeing? When are we going to start signing players that are not investments and are more assets than investments? See what I'm coming to with it. Until they get that right, they'll see more money. But I think they're reluctant to break their wage structure with the way they're thinking. But we talked about this a few weeks ago with Osherman. We would have been close to Liverpool than you think. We'd have had Champions League in the bag already. We'd have probably had a domestic trophy in the bag already. And these are the things that they need to understand. Yeah, investing in players for profit is good, but at the same time, you'll earn more money if you invest in the right players to get you at the top of the game. So right now, I think we're there. Only time we'll talk, like I said, we've been linked to Rodrygo, we're linked to Osherman. Is it fabricated? Is it true? Who knows? But only time we'll talk. I think this next, what are we on now? What is it for 2? So the next 4 or 5 days up until Sunday. So 8 p.m. on Sunday, we will know more about next season. If we get Champions League, maybe these players are on the agenda. If not, maybe it's back to the investment strategy, what they've been doing the last 3 years.
Listen, we're gonna wrap it up there, Kev. To be honest, I didn't realize it would take that long to speak about Boehly. But I mean, generally, guys, we only do hour shows, but I do 2 a day. So I'm going to be going live at lunchtime tomorrow, 1 o'clock with Nina. Nina's going to be on there. Kev, you're welcome to jump on if you want to. 1 o'clock, mate.
I'm good for that. I'm good for that. Yeah, send me the link. I'm on that. Cool.
Feel free to jump on, and then we'll be diving more into some of the transfer news as well, because we haven't really had enough time to speak about Rodrygo. We'll dive into that a little bit more tomorrow. But listen, we went deep on Boehly. We heard everything that he had to say about Chelsea, about Clear Lake, about transfers, and what they're trying to do as well. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the live video. Really appreciate everyone watching. I think we had about 200 people at one point. Still got over 150 of you. So let's see if we can get up to 150 likes before we wrap it up. Appreciate your time, guys. Kev, thanks for jumping on as well, mate. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will catch up very, very soon.